Hello, my friend. Let me start by saying this. You are here today because you have a spark within you. And you may not feel it burning brightly right now, but it's there. You are worthy of success, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. And I want you to let that sink in for a moment. Just breathe it in. Sometimes we feel that success belongs to other people with different backgrounds, more resources, or greater talent. You may look at others and think they must have something I don't, or I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I've made too many mistakes. But let me tell you something that will change everything. Success is not a privilege reserved for the few. It is not a prize you need permission to pursue. Success is your birthright. It is a reflection of the truth that you are enough just as you are right now. So why then does it sometimes feel so distant? Often it's because we're carrying stories, picture stories lead way. Stories about who we are, what we deserve, and what is possible for us. These stories might sound like, I'll never measure up, or I'm destined to fail. And because the mind listens to everything we tell it, we start to believe these stories. But here's the good news. If you can tell yourself a negative story, you can also tell yourself a positive one. If you can believe in limits, you can believe in possibilities. Right now, I want you to challenge the stories that no longer serve you. Ask yourself, who told you that you weren't enough? Who said success was beyond your reach? More important, where do you believe them? When you were a child, you didn't doubt yourself. You didn't question your worth. You believed you could do anything and you were right. That belief didn't disappear. It was covered up by layers of doubt, fear, and rejection. But you can strip those layers away. You can reconnect the part of you that knows deep down that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of every success you desire. Here's the truth. Success isn't about perfection. It isn't about never failing, and it certainly isn't about being lucky. Success is about showing up. It's about believing in yourself enough to try, and then trying again when things don't go as planned. And even when you stumble, and you will, because we all do, it's about getting back up. Every failure, every misstep is simply a step closer to your goal. It's not the absence of failure that leads to success. It's the refusal to let failure define you. Right now, I want you to start telling yourself a new story. Say this out loud if you can, or in your mind if you prefer. I am worthy of success. I am enough. I deserve to achieve my goals. I am capable of greatness. Your mind responds to the words you speak, so speak to yourself with kindness, with encouragement, and with belief. Every time you say these words, you're planting a seed, and with consistency, that seed will grow into a deep, unshakable confidence. Being worthy of success doesn't mean waiting for it to land in your lap. It means stepping up to claim it. It means setting goals, taking risks, and being persistent. But here's the key. You don't have to do it all at once. Start small. Take one step today toward the life you want. Then take another tomorrow. Every action you take, no matter how small, is proof to yourself that you believe in your worth. And as you take these steps, you'll notice something amazing. Opportunities will start to appear. Challenges will feel less intimidating, and you will begin to embody the success you seek. Remember, my friend, success doesn't make you worthy. You already are. Success is simply the outward expression of the worth you've always had inside you. So from this moment on, walk through life with this truth in your heart. You are enough. You are capable. And you are worthy of every success you can imagine. Now go out there and claim it, because it's yours. Success is your birthright, not a privilege reserved for others. This truth may feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years believing otherwise. But I want you to take a moment to sit with the idea. Success is not something that belongs to a select few people who seem more talented, more intelligent, or more deserving than you. It is not exclusive to those born into the right circumstances or those who have followed a specific path. Success is something you are inherently worthy of because you exist, because you try, and because you are enough. The belief that success is reserved for others often stems from the stories we absorb as we grow. Perhaps you've been told, directly or indirectly, that you're not smart enough, experienced enough, or talented enough to achieve your dreams. Or maybe you've been conditioned to believe that success only comes to those who fit a particular mold, follow a certain timeline, or meet certain societal standards. These beliefs are not truths, they are limitations, passed down and reinforced over time. And the good news is you can rewrite them. Think about when you were a child. You didn't question your right to dream or imagine what was possible. You didn't feel unworthy of trying new things or believing in yourself. Somewhere along the way, that innate sense of possibility may have been overshadowed by fear, rejection, or the opinions of others. But that childlike belief in your potential never disappeared. It's still within you, waiting to be rediscovered. Success isn't about having a perfect plan or flawless execution. It's about showing up with the belief that you are worthy of. When you start to believe that success is your birthright, you begin to approach life differently. You stop waiting for permission or external validation. You stop comparing yourself to others and assuming their achievements diminish your own potential. Instead, you realize that the only validation you need comes from within. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? Failure is not proof that you're unworthy, it's part of the process. Every successful person has faced setbacks, made mistakes, and started over. The difference is that they didn't let those moments define them or their worth. They understood that success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about continuing to move forward in spite of it. When you accept that success is your birthright, you free yourself from the fear of not measuring up. You no longer view success as something you have to earn through perfection or sacrifice, but as something that aligns with your own efforts, growth, and self-belief. You are no less capable or deserving than anyone else who has achieved great things. You simply need to recognize and claim what has been yours all along. Challenge the stories you tell yourself about your worth and potential. These stories are often deeply ingrained, shaped by experiences, the words of others, or societal expectation. Over time, they become a quiet but persistent voice in your mind, narrating your life in ways that may not reflect the truth. They tell you who you are, what you can do, and unfortunately what you can't. But these stories are not facts, they are interpretations, and interpretations can be rewritten. Start by asking yourself, where did these stories come from? Perhaps someone once told you that you weren't good enough, and their words stayed with you, growing louder every time you faced a challenge. Maybe you experienced a setback and internalized it as proof of your limitations. Or maybe you've absorbed cultural narratives about who deserves success and you don't see yourself reflected in those examples. These influences shape the way you see yourself, but they don't define who you are. They are perspectives you've adopted, often without question, and it's time to question them now. Recognize that your mind is incredibly powerful. It takes the stories you tell it and works to make them true, even when they're not. If you believe you're not capable, your mind will find ways to confirm that belief. It will focus on your doubts, highlight your mistakes, and overlook your strengths. But the same mind that reinforces limiting beliefs can also build empowering ones. It starts with becoming aware of the narratives running in the background and choosing to replace them with new, supportive stories. When you challenge these stories, you begin to see yourself in a new light. You start to notice your resilience, your creativity, and the unique qualities that make you capable of achieving your goals. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, try saying, I am learning, growing, and improving every day. Instead of thinking, I always fail, remind yourself, every failure brings me closer to success. These statements may feel unnatural at first, but with repetition, they become part of your inner dialogue, just like the old ones did. Think about the times in your life when you've succeeded, even in small ways, no matter how it felt to overcome a challenge or accomplish something you once doubted you could do. Those moments are evidence of your ability to rise above limitations. They prove that the stories of inadequacy are not the full picture. Hold on to those memories and use them as fuel to challenge the doubts that try to hold you back. It's not about pretending challenges don't exist or ignoring areas where you need growth. It's about refusing to let the challenges define your potential. Stories you tell yourself matter, and you have the power to write ones that support, uplift, and empower you. It's a choice, a daily practice of catching the old narratives and replacing them with ones that reflect the limitless potential within you. Your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. Speak to yourself with kindness and belief. The words you use, whether spoken out loud or whispered in the quiet of your thoughts, are immensely powerful. They shape how you see yourself, how you approach challenges, and ultimately, the reality you create for yourself. Your mind listens, and it takes those words as instructions, as truths to act upon. If you tell yourself you're not capable, not deserving, or not enough, your mind will seek to confirm it. But if you tell yourself you are strong, capable, and worthy, your mind will begin to believe that instead. The messages you feed yourself don't just influence your emotions, they shape your actions. Think about how you might approach a task if you're constantly telling yourself, I can't do this. You'll hesitate, you'll second-guess your efforts, and you might even give up before you've fully tried. Now, imagine telling yourself, I can figure this out. With that mindset, you'll be more likely to take action, to persist, and to Find creative solutions when challenges arise. Your words create your mindset, and your mindset shapes your behavior. Many of us have developed the habit of speaking to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend or a loved one. We criticize, belittle, and doubt ourselves without hesitation, and yet the voice we use to speak to ourselves is the one we hear the most. It's with us all day, every day. Imagine how much more supportive, confident, and resilient you would feel if that voice was one of encouragement instead of criticism. It begins with awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that run through your mind during the day. Notice the phrases you use when you make a mistake, when you face a challenge, or when you're reflecting on your goals. Are those words building you up, or are they tearing you down? Once you become aware of the negative patterns, you can start to interrupt them and replace them with something more empowering. The replacement doesn't have to be perfect or overly optimistic, it just needs to be kind and constructive. For example, instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you might say, "I'm learning and I'll improve with practice." Instead of thinking, "I'll never succeed," remind yourself, "Success takes time and I'm on the right path." These subtle shifts may feel small, but they have a profound impact over time. Repetition is key. The more often you speak to yourself with kindness and belief, the stronger those messages become. Your mind will begin to adopt these new patterns as its default. The same way negative self-talk once became a habit, positive self-talk can become second nature. Treat yourself as you would treat someone you care about deeply, with compassion, understanding, and encouragement. The words you use to speak to yourself can become a foundation of strength, resilience, and unshakable self-belief. Success isn't about perfection, it's about persistence and resilience. Far too often we hold ourselves back because we believe we must be flawless to achieve our goals. We think every step must be perfectly planned, every decision must be right, and every attempt must lead to immediate results. But perfection is a myth, an illusion that keeps us trapped in fear and hesitation. The truth is, the most successful people in the world didn't achieve their goals by being perfect, they did it by being persistent. Persistence means continuing to move forward, even when things don't go as planned. It means trying again after a failure, learning from setbacks, and refusing to let obstacles define your journey. Success isn't a straight line, it's a winding path filled with detours, challenges, and moments of doubt. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is the willingness to keep going, even when the path is difficult. Resilience is what helps you bounce back when things get tough. It's the ability to face failure without letting it shatter your confidence or your belief in what's possible. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging the struggle and choosing to move forward anyway. Every time you get back up after falling, you're building your resilience. Every time you face a challenge and work through it, you're proving to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. Think about a time in your life when you overcame something difficult. It might have been a moment when you felt like giving up, but you chose to push through. Maybe it was a challenge at work, a personal struggle, or a goal you finally achieved after many attempts. What got you through wasn't perfection, it was your determination to keep going. That same determination is within you now, ready to be called upon whenever you need it. Perfection often keeps us stuck in inaction. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect plan before we begin. But in waiting, we lose valuable time and momentum. The perfect time to start is now, even if you don't have everything figured out. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Every action teaches you something valuable, whether it works out the way you hoped or not. Mistakes are not failures, they are lessons. Every misstep offers an opportunity to learn, to adjust, and to grow. When you embrace the idea that success is about persistence and resilience, you give yourself permission to try, to stumble, and to try again. You stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. Success is not about avoiding difficulty, it's about navigating through it with determination, courage, and faith in your ability to adapt. Every failure is a stepping stone toward your goals, not a dead end. When we think about failure, it's often with fear, shame, or regret. We see it as something to avoid at all costs, something that marks the end of progress or proof that we weren't good enough. But failure is not the opposite of success, it's a vital part of it. Each time you fail, you're not moving away from your goal, you're learning, growing, and moving closer to it. Failure is feedback. It's a message that something didn't work the way you planned, but it's also an opportunity to understand why. Every setback carries valuable lessons if you're willing to look for them. Maybe you'll learn a new skill, a better approach, or something about yourself that makes you stronger for the next attempt. Failure teaches resilience, creativity, and adaptability, qualities that are essential for success. When a child learns to walk, they fall repeatedly. They stumble, they trip, and they fall again. Yet, they don't stop trying because they fell. They don't label themselves as failures or decide they're not meant to walk. Instead, they get back up and try again, each time a little stronger, a little steadier. That same spirit of perseverance lives within you, just like that child. Every time you fail, you're building strength and preparing yourself for success. Sometimes failure feels overwhelming because we tie it to our identity. We think, I failed, so I must be a failure. But failure is not who you are, it's something you experience. It's an event and not a definition. When you separate failure from your sense of self, you can look at it objectively. You can see it for what it is, a momentary setback, not a permanent condition. Think about some of the greatest achievements in history. They are often built on a foundation of repeated failures. Inventors, artists, entrepreneurs, and visionaries all faced countless rejections, mistakes, and disappointments before they succeeded. What set them apart was their refusal to give up. They used failure as a tool to refine their ideas, improve their methods, and strengthen their resolve. They understood that every failure brought them one step closer to their goal. Failure also has a way of revealing your true desires. When you face challenges, it forces you to ask yourself, how much do I want this? If the answer is that you want it deeply, then failure becomes a test of your commitment rather than an endpoint. It pushes you to dig deeper, to work harder, and to keep moving forward even when it feels difficult. Each failure is a sign that you're trying, that you're taking action toward your dreams. It's proof that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and daring to achieve something meaningful. The only real failure is giving up entirely, and even then you have the choice to start again. Take small, consistent actions daily to build momentum towards success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by big goals, especially when the distance between where you are and where you want to be seems vast. You might think you need to make a massive leap or achieve dramatic results right away. But the truth is, success is rarely about grand gestures or sudden breakthroughs. It's built on the small, consistent steps you take every single day. Every significant achievement starts with one step. It doesn't matter how small that step is, what matters is that you take it. When you break your goal into smaller, manageable tasks, you create a path that feels achievable. Each small action builds on the one before it, creating momentum that propels you forward. It's like climbing a staircase one step at a time. While each step may seem insignificant on its own, together they lead you to the top. Consistency is the key to progress. Even the smallest actions, when repeated regularly, create a compounding effect. Imagine planting a seed and watering it daily. At first it may seem like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing, the foundation is forming, and eventually you'll see the results. The same principle applies to your efforts. What might feel like small, unnoticeable actions today will accumulate in time into something remarkable. When you focus on small, consistent actions, you also reduce the pressure to be perfect. You don't need to get everything right all at once. You don't need to have all the answers or accomplish everything in a single day. Instead, you can focus on progress, however small, and let go of the need for perfection. Each day is an opportunity to take one step closer to your goal. Small actions are powerful because they are sustainable. Grand efforts can be exhausting and they often lead to burnout. But when you take small, manageable steps, you create habits that you can maintain over the long term. These habits become part of your routine, making it easier to stay consistent even on challenging days. Over time, they become second nature, and the effort you once struggled with becomes effortless. Momentum builds when you take action, no matter how small. Each time you complete a task, you prove to yourself that you can. This builds confidence and motivation, making it easier to take the next step. Success becomes less intimidating because you're no longer focused on the entire journey, you're simply focused on the next step in front of you. Think of small actions as investments in your future. Each one contributes to the bigger picture, even if the results aren't immediate. By committing to daily effort, you create a foundation of progress and persistence that carries you toward your goals. Every moment of effort matters, and over time, those moments add up to something extraordinary. Opportunities grow when you show up and claim your worth. So often we wait for opportunities to come to us. We tell ourselves that when the right moment appears, when the right person notices us, or when everything aligns perfectly, we'll seize the chance. But opportunities rarely appear out of nowhere. They are often created by our willingness to show up, to be present, and to let the world know that we are ready and deserving. Showing up doesn't just mean physically being there, it means bringing your full self to the table. It means stepping forward with confidence even when you feel uncertain. It's about putting yourself in the places where opportunities are likely to arise and are making your intentions known. When you show up with purpose, people notice, doors open, opportunities find you because you've made yourself visible. Claiming your worth is an essential part of this process. If you don't believe in your own value, it's difficult for others to see it. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about recognizing what you bring to the table and owning it. It's about saying, I have something to offer and I'm ready to contribute. When you act from a place of self-worth, you project confidence and capability, and others respond to that energy. Opportunities often come disguised as challenges or risks. They may not look perfect or feel comfortable, but when you show up, you position yourself to recognize them for what they are. Sometimes the opportunity is simply the chance to try something new, to take a risk, or to step outside your comfort zone. These moments may feel uncertain, but they are often where the greatest growth happens. It's important to remember that showing up doesn't guarantee instant success. There will be times when you feel unnoticed or unacknowledged. But every time you show up, you're planting seeds, you're building connections, gaining experience, and strengthening your presence. Even if the results aren't immediate, the effort is never wasted. When you show up consistently, you also develop a reputation. People begin to associate you with reliability, determination, and a willingness to engage. They start to see you as someone they can trust, someone who is ready to step up when needed. Over time, this creates a ripple effect. One opportunity leads to another, and the connections you build open doors you may not have even considered. Claiming your worth also means advocating for yourself. Don't wait for others to recognize your value. Speak up for what you want. Ask for the opportunities you seek, whether it's a new role, a chance to lead, or the space to share your ideas. When you advocate for yourself, you send a powerful message that you believe in your abilities and that you're ready to take on challenges.